Alright, hello and welcome to the 30th episode, actually, of What If Civilization Started on Another Planet. It's been like a little bit since I posted, but that's okay because we've been busy with a bunch of stuff. For example, in our last live stream, which when I'm recording this should be yesterday, and hopefully this comes out on the same day that I'm recording this, but point is, we had probably the best stream known to mankind. It was fabulous, and we even got people as the countries. We got the Republic of Finger. This isn't going to make sense, but I will in a second. We have Republic of Zandonia. We have the Glinst Empire, and of course, we can never forget about the Sultan Empire right here. And basically, in this stream, we kind of created a story for the next episode, and we had even people acting as the countries, and we literally built off the story in that stream. So it was probably one of the best things there. So you guys should also go check that out after these videos, and just show up to my streams, which, if I'm recording this correctly, should either be today or the day after. So again, you guys should go check that out, and to not forget to like and subscribe, because if I get this on time and if we don't blitz through it, we should be really close to 600 subscribers, so that would also be very nice. But anyways, I think we can get right into this video. Now, before getting to all of the good and important stuff, which I promise you is going to be great, what we will be seeing actually is just some simple expansion coming from these guys, because they just haven't really been doing anything, and obviously they're gonna do their own little thing because they haven't been fairly relaxed, and even the pink team hogging even more of the coast, so they're now just really long. But besides that, I think we can also take a look at this brand new country, which, obviously it aims to be the #1 country, aims to be the biggest, strongest, and best. Now, will they actually succeed? Who knows? Succeed. I love my English. It's just fabulous. But basically, these guys, they're just going to start going a little along the coast, because obviously, now this is some good old valuable land. And they're going to obviously just thicken up the border here, because all of this is very valuable land. It's all good. And luckily for them, they have a fairly high population, actually, so they could use some more space, honestly, and it's going well for them. The island nation, the island empire, they also begin to go a little along the coast, because they are the #1 power and they want to keep that. So they are just also expanding slightly along these areas. But we also have Sultanate Empire right here. They will also just continue going along this coastal area, with obviously just going, because look, I think I have to show a little map right now, because obviously what will be very important in this episode, trust me, we have the Golrons, and there's only a few patches of them, which the first one is this. This is the largest area of where Golrons are known to be. We also have a couple right into these areas, and we have a few small pockets all around here. But you could see this is the largest reserve and area by far. So obviously some countries go out of their way to do all this stuff, but that's a big reason why, even though this is a desert, a lot of this is desert, this is where most of them live, and basically for these guys, equals money. So that's another reason why they're actually really rich, since they are by far, even though they're not #1, the biggest, I guess, exporters of Golrons, kind of like war elephants, which I have explained before. So that's why we see these guys also going along into these more desert areas. Even though it's quite difficult to go in here, they're kind of become specialized in that. But we also see Limbos, which we did also give a name. Limbos right here, another big old country. They will also start going a little more into these coastal areas, but obviously they don't go into that too much. But another thing that we also see is that Finger right here, they also begin to expand a little, because obviously they've definitely been growing in lots of stuff, like military especially. They've really been focusing on that, and they've even been getting their allies, which would be, I guess, Zandonia, and I don't have a name for these guys, so. And with this, we will also be seeing actually an official alliance with these three. So basically, if something happens to one, the other ones will come and help them out. Because obviously, right now, we have 2 alliances with these 2, as well as the whole Circle Alliance. So we can also give a brand new one. And with this, we can see that these 3, they have finally made their own little thing right here. But obviously, there's also other good alliances that, good relations. Like, for example, I guess the snow country right here, as well as the blue team, they are really good relations. They're basically allies. They just haven't officially made an alliance, but they could probably like join the triangle because they're also pretty fine with the brown team. So, but also since it has been a second, I think we can also take a look at all the expansion that has recently been happening because a lot of countries, it's really gotten to the point where they can really start expanding because, I mean, of course, this world is slightly bigger than ours in real life, so countries might seem a little smaller for the time, but that's just because we're on a larger planet. So that's a big reason. But also, I think it's safe to say that these guys would have definitely expanded because obviously, looking at these guys, which I'll get to the other countries in a second, they have also been fairly powerful and just like kind of quiet in a way. So they will also do expanding in their own right, also capturing, I guess, or taking all of these areas. What's it with me saying capturing? But no, they would just begin to expand all around into these kinds of areas. But also, we can probably see the expansion of all these other countries because it's definitely that time. So we could definitely see all of this happening. And with this, we also see these guys taking these lands right here, if I can get that. As well as not that, though. That's going to go to these guys right here. So obviously, these guys, they kind of have like their beef because obviously the Union is a lot stronger than these guys, respectfully, since it's also literally a union between two different countries. So obviously they're going to be stronger. These guys who also did lose that war. But also looking on the bright side, they're not as weak as these guys, which are the single weakest country on this entire planet as of speaking. So not the best for them, but I guess staying a little away from that, we also got, of course, these guys right here, which do a little expansion along this coast, but mostly just go around right here. But what has definitely been a main goal for these guys, they have finally completed, which is completely encircling this lake right here for their own. So probably if I ever named that lake, that's probably going to be the name of the country or vice versa. So these guys, they're definitely big, just not the strongest. So they're definitely a country. I'll give them that. So I guess stepping away from this, we can finally get to this fairly important event, I think. With this, we see that obviously, Sultanate Empire, the largest exporters of Golrons, because they have the largest areas which are around here. They constantly do trading all around the countries. Here, 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 here. You get the point. They go everywhere. But the problem is that on one large trade, which had many hundreds of Golrons sitting down south to eventually make their way on a certain ship all the way up here into this right here, which, again, it is suspicious because no nation here at all would ever buy Golrons. They don't need war stuff. So it's first weird in the first place that the Dark Red team, they're even ordering, or I guess trying to purchase such a war creature for anything. But unluckily for them, but luckily for someone else, right when it's about to go through the safe passage, getting near the border of the Cyan team, it is abruptly completely stopped. It gets completely stopped right about here as they're going to make their little way up and around here into this. There is a bunch of mercenaries with a certain flag, the Finisher flag. How interesting. Basically, what happens is these guys, with a ton of ships, they begin to raid these ships right here, which were eventually going to bring the Golrons over here. So basically, once they raid these ships, they take every single Golron, which is worth a lot of money, and they bring it back to the Finisher Empire. Now, as much as they try to slaughter everyone, a couple of people, only like maybe you're 50 or so, are able to get on a small boat and rush all the way back to the Sultanate Empire. And once they report the news, rightfully so, they are pissed. Because Finisher right here, which had no business in anything, they could have even just bought them. No. They sent a bunch of people to steal their precious Golrons, which a couple hundred, I'd say around 300, that is worth a lot of money. And these guys are also pissed because they just paid a bunch of money. Like, obviously, they're going to give their money back, and until they get sorted out with giving them their Golrons, rightfully so. Not good. And it's not much better when they see that these guys are in an alliance, And so, rightfully so, with the complete anger of these guys, they declare war on the Republic of Finger and all of its allies. Now, this is a fairly-ish even fight, although I do see in the favor of Sultan, but just in case, they're also able to recruit Limbas with some promises because they also had tried to get a bunch of Gorons in areas, and fairly enough, they did promise them a bunch of Gorons for obviously a better trade deal for around 10 years if they help them defeat these guys to not stop being evil, because they're right now, especially to their public, they're kind of making these guys look like the pure evil bad guys, which in a way they are. So with this, their goal right now is to get a ton of ships, hopefully to get all the way here and just raid the capital, raid the fuck out of it, make them surrender, and eventually pay a lot of money. But they know the likelihood of this happening is fairly low. This would be the largest and furthest naval warfare ever seen. It would be very difficult, especially on the homeland. So they have to devise a plan to somehow destroy all their ships before that happens. And it's likewise for Finger and all of its allies. Their goal is to completely eradicate these guys and give them a bunch of Gorons and pay a bunch of money. So after months of preparing from both sides, because no one sets stone on anything, there's obviously a large blockade of troops that go along this area right here. And we can also see this is where kind of both of them begin to stack up. On a one-on-one, Sultan is far stronger, but with these three combined, well, this one's kind of fucking useless, don't worry about him. These two, they're carrying most of the weight, and they're fairly-ish powerful. They have this area right here, while I guess Finger and its allies have this right here. Because if I had to guess, these guys would probably, I guess with the addition of Limbas, right now it's in their favor. At least that's what they thought. An insane amount of troops, I guess, or just a very large amount of ships, right now, like out of nowhere, just begin to stack up on the border, because they know that's unnatural. There's no way that these three have the naval capacity for anything this large. So now, obviously, this shows that they are having outside help, but the question is who and why. But obviously, the first naval warfare does begin, where we see lots of troops, and I mean a lot of ships. They just begin starting to rush each other. Now, they did have the advantage when it comes to technology, but suspiciously enough, the technology of these ships are surprisingly good, like a lot better than anything that you'd expect that they'd have. That's a little odd until, since these guys do have their advantage when it comes to the Golrons, they have very large ships. So what they do is that they send Golrons onto the ships and hopefully, I guess, kick everyone off. How realistic is this? I don't know. Don't worry about it. Basically, these guys, they will just be complete full sending. And with this goal is just to completely try to break through this barricade, because right now, if I had to say, this is the front lines right here. And obviously these guys have a much larger one. If they could just hopefully break through this, they could eventually blockade this area and separate this one. At least that's their goal. But if they can actually do that, who knows? But luckily for them, in the middle of fighting, I guess also unluckily, they lose their complete top portion of their armies. They are completely gone. They just get completely obliterated. But they are able to capture one of those advanced ships, because it's very weird. Because some of them are really advanced, and some of them are like horrific, which is what you expect from these guys. I mean, not horrific, but you get the point. So once they capture one, they actually are able to capture a bunch of people, and they get sent back. They get sent straight back into the Sultanate Empire's capital, and then they get interrogated until they realize that these are island nation citizens. So when you look at that, that means that the island nation has been aiding these guys in this war effort. So these guys, rightfully so, they're mad. They execute him because, they're pissed. And they take straight to the capital and question, what are you doing? That's when the word begins to spread. More and more countries begin to realize what had happened. And eventually it gets to the point where even countries like the dark blue team and blue team, they realize that they have an opportunity to hopefully kick these guys off, of course, from number one. So basically, they just completely start bashing and hating on these guys to hopefully make everyone else hate them, and rightfully so. A lot of countries, I mean, they already didn't like them very much, but now they hate them even more, that they're going into unnecessary fights. So right now, they're kind of terrified, and they don't want to do anything with this. So, in the worst timing possible, as they begin to win this war, and they begin to make a very large push into these areas right here, they see that they have to pull troops out from those areas. And also, what they're going to do is officially leave this war, and they will have to pay the Sultanate Empire, as they've promised, quite a lot of money for reparations and all the destruction that they have caused. So now, these guys are a little more worried, and after months of fighting, it is safe to say that not one single country has been able to get anywhere near to them enough. Because obviously, these guys, they have a very well protected area because they're on an entire different continent. And these guys, very far away and very difficult to get, honestly, because trying not to get in the way of other countries like the brown team or dark red team while getting to these guys, that's also very difficult. So once they realize this, they agree that this isn't worth it. In the end, with the destruction, they try to make themselves pay each other, but in the end, even though these guys did rob them, they actually somehow got lucky, and they didn't even have to pay anything. So with these guys, nothing in the end really happened when it comes to who's going to pay what. So it was kind of a draw. No one really won this war, and they see, in the end, it was just for the island nation, and now no one really likes them. So I guess that is going to cause a lot of issues in the next episode. So, and I think it's also safe to say that it's probably going to be a little shorter since I do want to get this out on time, and I have some cool editing ideas I might get to. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and don't forget to, I guess, please like and subscribe, because like I said, 600 subscribers hopefully close by, unless I already hit it while I'm editing. If you guys have any suggestions, please do comment them, and join the stream, because all that fighting scene, all of this episode, that was all because of that was literally all because of the stream of 2 people working with this, and we even got some people to be the purple team, for example. So if you guys want to see it or join this to hopefully work on this story, do join the stream, which will be coming, I guess, either today or tomorrow, for depending on when I'm recording this and if I can get to it. So